morning, everybody. Welcome, Tracey. I feel like it's been so long.
I know. Girl had to get her stuff on. I'm sorry I missed you last week, but I was in
And the week before.
It's true, but I was in North Carolina last week with Ryan's soccer tournament. Congratulations, ETA. It was not the best record in the world. But I have to say that last game they were down 7-0 to the state champion, Michigan State champs for U18 boys. And let me be clear that those were men on the field, they were not boys. So my little six foot, 135-pound twig.
Little 6 foot.
He's a little 6 foot. He's a tiny 135-pound twig. He looks like the stand that our cell phones stand on, with a little lollipop head. But I love you, Ryan. That said, they're playing against these men, but they were getting their butts kicked 7-0 going into the second half, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they held that team. The kids with their adjustments, they neutralized. And I'm gonna go ahead and be proud mama here. My little guy, a big guy, he neutralized their hat trick scorer in the first half to no goals in the second half, and they came out of the second half 1-1. So although a legit butt kicking, the kids adjusted, didn't give up, maintained the intensity, and just rocked it. So I was super proud. And I got some sunshine too. It was lovely.
I got some sunshine, hence my little sun blister right here. But my sunshine was from the day we were destaging.
Yes.
Moving furniture. So mine was not an enjoyable.
So apparently, yeah. And needless to say, I was like a lizard in the Galapagos over the weekend. And same thing with the staging thing. It was like 2 days back to back sunshine, and my Irish, German, French skin, not unlike yourself, just was like, oh, sunshine. And I think I'm part vampire and may have crisped up a little bit there. So, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So we have good stuff this week. What's going on?
We do. So we have a couple things that are, it's not only has spring sprung, but also we're starting to see a little bit more of reopening happening.
Yes.
Which is really exciting to see. But again, people still need to be safe. There are some countries already, Italy, parts of Canada, they're kind of going into it like a third wave.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping so much that America stays safe, because we are getting so close, but people, they have a propensity to kind of jumpstart it a little bit too soon. So please,
stay the course.
I know we're almost there. But so speaking of some openings, so it has been announced that Nats Park can officially fill 5,000 seats for opening day.
N-A-T-S, Nats.
Yes, so that's really nice. Also, some other things that are opening up are the water taxis and cruise services on the Potomac.
That's good for commutes.
Those are starting up again, which is nice. Now, I think that's also a portion of it starting back up again just because of the season.
Right.
But that's really nice to see. So some things that are kind of putting a pause. So on the timeline are, during the spring, there's a lot of like the garden tours, the home tours in Northern Virginia. The Holland Hills is a big home tour.
It's beautiful.
It is going to happen this year, but they're actually pushing it to the fall.
Yeah.
So, and actually, you know what? It's going to be, with where that is, it's actually
really
going to be beautiful in the fall.
Agreed.
To see what those homes look like then.
Yeah.
But that's something that's moving over. And then some other news. So I was kind of surprised to see some developments that have been put forward actually be pulled back and been denied or put on hold until more studies done. So there's two big ones that this has happened to. One is a mixed-use development out in Loudoun, over in the Goose Creek area. We're calling it Goose Creek Overlook. That was denied due to environmental concerns for the area, because it's like the watershed over there. So that was just recently denied. And then another one is Braddock West development, which is right along the Braddock Metro line.
In Alexandria.
In Alexandria, yep. And that was stopped due to concerns over how the stormwater was going to be draining, and basically environmental kind of concerns about that. So those are two pretty big developments that were put forward that have either been kind of stopped at this moment or just denied. And then some other things that we have, tax deadline was just extended. until May 17th. So you have about another month, a month and 2 days. Month and 2 days to get that done. And then also, Amazon is moving into the Springfield area. Now they just acquired a office campus down at the Fort Belvoir area. Don't really have a lot of detail as to what it's going to be, but from reports that I've read, they think it might be like more of like a data services kind of center. But Amazon's just really
spreading. So what I thought was interesting is WTOP put out a really neat report, interesting report, recently this past week, and it showed what the internet traffic is. Now this is where I am not smart on this one or educated on this one, but I think it's watts. Point is, the amount of volume that goes through Northern Virginia. I always knew it was
the top
a lot.
Third.
No, we are the top, and not only are we the top third, we are a third of
Maybe
all
that's what I was
traffic
thinking. Traffic
in
goes
Northern
through.
Virginia,
Right.
where we are up over 200, whatever the units are. Everybody else is like a third of that. It's absolutely insane. I mean, Toronto's number 2, Silicon Valley's way down low, which I expected them to be much higher. I mean, it is insane what goes through here. We're toast if we ever get nuked.
It is. Well, and so the interesting thing is, I know, so there's a lot of reason why I think this, in all my expertise with data knowledge, which I don't really have, except for the fact
both of our husbands are like, shut up.
I know. But so I know that a lot of times whenever I have worked on web redesigns and stuff like that,
of course,
the biggest thing that that I was always thinking is where are the servers located, and if you think about it, you have to think about a lot of the environmental impact. So do they get hurricanes? Do they get earthquakes? Do they get tornadoes? Stuff like that. This area
is pretty insulated.
So I would guess, my educated, non-backed up guess would be the fact that also might be why
fairly consistent
this area,
plus the undeveloped land.
Right.
And so it made sense to make it happen.
So, but yeah. No,
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then the last thing that I have is that pro rugby, Old Glory. So they used to play in DC out at Catholic University. They have just moved to Leesburg. So they are going to be playing at Sager Field at the Philip A. Bolin Park. And their first game, which is going to be open to people to come watch, is going to be March 27th. So
I wouldn't mind going to see one of those. I really enjoyed watching rugby when I was in college. It was just a really fun and super competitive sport to watch.
We had our 2 in rugby one year when they were younger, and it was hot.
Oh, it's hot.
It was so hot outside. I remember being at one of the games, because they don't do just a game. It's like they were all tournaments. Right. And they were telling us, because it was the first time we'd ever done this. And still to this day, I have no idea what the rules are for rugby. But
it's a great sport.
Right. But they were telling us, they're like, it's gonna get really hot, so make sure you bring a cooler with ice and towels, because in between when we take them out, they're gonna have to
cool down,
put the things on it. At that point, me, I'm like, well, then why are we even playing? Is it really that big of a deal to play?
Well, she was a competitive softball player, so this is like a long way away from where she originated.
It was, but I mean, they were literally like 7 and 8, and I'm like, is it like so?
She has a thing about children's sports. We'll do a top 3 takeaway on why Lynn
I know
has a problem with children's sports.
I do.
All right,
okay, well, so you have
I got some too. So speaking of children, Fairfax County announced that we should be back to 5 days a week in the fall, so some normalcy there. Also in that vein of getting back to normal, they did release that now agriculture, manufacturing, and grocery store workers are eligible in the 1B category. So who do you know that's in manufacturing, agricultural, or grocery store? Get them registered on the Fairfax County website for their vaccine. They will be reached out. Eric did register because brewing is considered part of 1B because it's manufacturing. 1C, they're estimating, which is you and me, to be open in mid-April. So that's coming, folks. Keep
1C
going.
1C meaning like we're the last group.
No, 1C because real estate's considered.
Oh, for real estate.
Considered, I think this is so funny, essential. Essential is like police and nurses and doctors and frontline workers. But because we need to keep the economy going through the home sales, it's considered essential.
Got it.
So there's that. A while back, we talked about rent and forbearance and help with landlords. Fairfax County, good news, folks, to the landlords who have been feeling the pressure of the mortgage. Not mortgage, but the rent relief. You are now able to go to the landlord portal on Fairfax County's website. It is now connected to the eviction task force and will provide landlords front door access to the emergency rental assistance funds. By the way, this is all from Supervisor Walkinshaw's newsletter. To be eligible, there's 3 things that the tenant, not the landlord, but the tenant who is not current on their rent must be experiencing. They must be experiencing loss of income as a direct result from COVID. The monthly rent for the property must not exceed 150% of the fair market rent value. And this is posted on the portal. And when I did look at those numbers, they're very reasonable for our area based on size of property, etc. And then the third criteria is the annual household income of the tenants must not exceed 80% of the area median income, which when you look at that is low. Remember, this is an expensive place to live, and there's a lot of people with dual incomes, so you would be surprised where that is. So most people are going to be okay as far as getting into that. Going through development on a more micro level, excited in Fairfax in the Braddock District, Kings Park West, they are looking at an eastbound bike lane that will also preserve parking on either side of that street, going from Guinea Road, actually going from Sideburn Road over by Robinson High School all the way through to Guinea Road. So that'll be a nice cut through and get you off of Braddock Road as far as bikers go. And then the second one over by us is Fair Lakes, going from Government Center Parkway at Monument Drive, which is Wegmans, up to Waples Mill. Not a very long stretch, but it's a very wide road with a buffer, and they're looking at adding that there as well.
And it's a bike lane on the road.
Yeah, it's a bike lane on the road. We'll save this for the end, and we'll save this for the end because that's free. So let's get into the content.
All right.
Boom. I'm done.
All right. So if you were to go onto our website this past week or follow us on social media, you saw that we went ahead, we took a look at the market, the monthly view. So to see what is going on, surprise, surprise, it is still a seller's market. However, the really, really good news is, and I mentioned this last week as well, and we continue to see it this week, is looking at the weekly numbers, more inventory is coming on the market. It's still going to be a seller's market. However, more inventory is coming on. I do really think that unlike last year, we're going to, especially...
It's going to be a little more normal.
It is. It's going to be a little bit more normal in the fact that we know school is going to be back in session, so people are really going to need to focus on being at a specific place to get their child into whatever certain school that they want to be in. And
it's also driven by travel and summer vacation travel as well. So you kind of see a biorhythm of a spike roughly in March, April, May. It starts to taper off in June, bottoms out a little bit in July, August. This is all historical, and I'm being very vague with it. And then it kind of pops back up in September, goes hard through Thanksgiving, and then kind of break for the holidays again. So that's the normal biorhythm, and I think you're going to see that.
It follows people's mental state throughout the year.
Yeah, exactly.
I need a break in the summer, and I need a break at the holidays. But yeah, we did not see that last year.
And I mean, like yesterday, there was 3 houses in Kings Park West that popped up. I was able to take my clients out. They were able to look. It was nice to see choice. We're still going to have to compete, but it was nice to have choice.
Right, exactly. So we went ahead and dug into that, and I'll let you talk about this one.
Yeah, so check this out. As you know, we do what you get for. This is to help get you an idea. I think a lot of people think they need a 20% down payment and a perfect credit score to get into a house. That is not so. Say it ain't so. It's not so. This is the house where we had a buyer who was able to get in at $875,000. The house was listed at $850,000. We were able to go in sight unseen, preserve her ability to do a home inspection and right to void for both that and through the HOA. Of course, she didn't. She loved it and closed, which was great. So go into this. We're going to dive into what you can get for, what the expenses are, for closing costs, as well as monthly payments at $875,000, and what you can afford in Falls Church for that price point.
Yep. We also
This was great, by the way.
Oh,
you guys crushed this one.
Thanks.
It's such a great one.
This was our test run, so you can look forward to seeing more of these coming up.
Super fun.
So Maura and I went out. Well, first of all, the whole team went out, and we celebrated St. Patrick's Day at Old Shabim. And Maura and I went out, and we did a nice little tour of Fairfax City. So just the historic downtown area, because there's so much down there. There's so many restaurants. There's a lot of boutiques, and the other thing is there's a lot more coming. So the city has really started to go through this big resurgence. I, being a citizen close by, am really looking forward to more of a resurgence, which is coming, which we're actually going to be getting into in an upcoming development update. In, I think, sometime this spring. I think it's May is when I'm doing that one, May or June. But so we went ahead, we took a little tour and gave you guys a really good look at what the downtown area looks like, and then also talked about some of our favorite restaurants, boutiques, and then also those events that happen that you really need to get on your calendar.
It's super fun, and it's like a minute and a half of your life. It's worth a watch. It's super great.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we doing this week? This week, coming up, woohoo, spring updates.
Yes, so I know I'm always itching to change my house. So
oh my God. So Slaymaker's coming over on Fridays, or today, oh my God, 12:30. Indigo Designs coming over to my house to help me with the family room.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh, that's exciting. So I ran into her the other day, and her and I were chatting some. So yes, Amy Slaymaker, Indigo. She's a great interior designer. She is fantastic.
Oh, she and Laura
if you just
want
to do a room, I mean, it's like you. We're not talking like when people think like, oh, I have an interior designer. I'm keeping my couch.
I'm keeping my furniture. I just need to. Like, I want a new rug and I want a paint color, and they're going to help that happen.
Right, and they are. I love them.
Yeah.
Not only that, oh my God, I just always, just seeing her makes me happy. Like, I love her. She's so funny.
I know. And her partner Laura.
That woman cracks me up.
Yeah, and their partner Laura, her partner Laura is wonderful, and their kids all are Fairfax High School, so it's like uber local.
I would see Laura all the time at lacrosse.
There you
when
go.
Jude played lacrosse.
There you go.
Anywho, so we are getting into some spring updates, like Tracy said, where if it's just changing out a rug or just changing out a paint color. Well, paint color we already gave you tips on that, so you can see that online as well. But so it'll be just some little pieces you can get into your life and your house to spruce it up a bit.
Which will be great, and I will check it out. Oh, this one. So we did What You Get For. This was our Canterbury Woods as-is estate / rental that turned over. It was sold 100% as is. We ended up with 8 contracts, and although the What You Get For 620 is what the video piece is on, stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of where that bad boy landed, because you're welcome, Canterbury Woods. That one was a great listing. But yeah, check that out. The $620,000 price point in Annandale and Canterbury Woods for a fixer-upper. That'll help you know what your carrying costs and down payment will look like.
Yep.
And then this
upcoming week, we are getting into the minds of the seller versus buyer. So we just kind of talk about just the transaction process when it comes to buying or selling a home can be a bit overwhelming. You can really, one of the biggest things that I have a conversation with when it comes to my buyers and my sellers is kind of keep in mind what you started with. What was your goal? Because people can get caught up in the game, in the battle, the emotion. So, and I always try to keep that forefront with them, that nice little reminder to make sure, like, okay, it does not have to be as stressful as you know.
Make the business decision.
Right, exactly. So I get into just kind of talking about look, there's two sides to everything. This is what this person is thinking. This is what this person is thinking. Here's how to make sure it's nice and balanced so it can be a smooth transaction, to keep a little bit of,
rationality to it.
yes, rationality and peacefulness.
State.
Yes. Yeah.
With that said, I just had a total event session right before this. So, anywho,
Right. So anyway.
moving forward, events. Okay, lots happening. We had a
Yes.
seller seminar last night.
Seller seminar last night, and then the week before we had our buyer one. So that means this Saturday.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, we'll get there. Sorry, I lied. We'll come back to that. However, yesterday we had a fabulous listing over in Lake Point, off of Guinea Road near the new and up and coming Bunny Man Brewery. That's a personal plug for thank you, honey. That said, we've got an open house Saturday and Sunday. You can hit us up here on Facebook at 1:30 to 2 for an online virtual walkthrough. Ask questions.
Mhm.
Lynn and I will be tag teaming this open house on both days, live in person, 2 to 4. Fabulous. 509-333, and yes, 3 is the seller's favorite number, so keep that in mind when making an offer. Going back to those mindset talks that we were talking about. But this is a special property. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but go to focusonnova.com to check out the listing itself. These guys opened up the floor plan. It's gorgeous and completely remodeled.
They've
Smart
done so much
home.
work on it.
It's an amazing townhouse in Lake Point. Join us this weekend. I'll be conducting a seller seminar from 9 a.m. to, and then a buyer seminar at 11 a.m., 10:30 a.m. It's on the calendar.
I'll make sure she's on it.
It's on the calendar. It's on the calendar. And we know how that is. But yeah, so the seller seminar and the buyer seminar is on the calendar. So 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. They're typically small, and then I customize the content for you. You can register for that at FocusOnNova/events and check that out there because it's worth it if you're thinking about getting into it. And don't worry, we're not going to take your firstball and a DNA sample to be there. It's purely to answer your questions and help you expect. And it's free.
Yes.
Yes.
So our upcoming Masters Monday is going to be April 5th at 7 o'clock. So make sure to join us either on Zoom or right here on Facebook. Unfortunately, Instagram we don't live stream it on Instagram.
But we post it later to IGTV.
We do. And we have Charlie Clark speaking with us. He is a journalist. Actually, I know Charlie Clark because back in the day, when I was in media, he was one of my freelancers, and I actually reached out to him specifically for this story because he worked on this story for me when I was at the magazine, and it is focusing on the Nazi presence that was in Arlington, because there was actually, I don't want to say it was a large contingent,
right,
but they were out in the open contingent of the Nazi Party in Arlington. So he is going to talk to us about that. I remember when I worked with him, he had handed over so we could use them for the magazine, the original photos from the meetings and the rallies and everything, and it was
even here, and when you look at this, he's got the photo of the headquarters for the party, and then they continue to go on. But yeah, it was 1958 to 83, so I'm really looking forward to that talk.
So that's going to be
again, register at FocusOnNova/events for that one. It's going to be live streamed, and it's again free, and you can see all of our other talks that we've done thus far. They're archived there too. It's almost like a podcast, frankly. You can pop it on and listen to it, and they're all fascinating. They're just fascinating.
They are.
All right, things to do this weekend. I've got one.
Okay, go ahead.
I've got one. So Supervisor Harity and Fairfax County Public Schools, among other folks, have done the Fairfax County Teen Online Job Fair, and that's tomorrow, the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can register at Fairfax County, and it's designed to help high school students in particular start to figure out what the job market looks like. It connect them with employers. They develop any type of experience that's there, and in addition to chatting with the employers just about jobs, the job application process, they're also able to join online sessions on how to create their own resumes, which is really an important skill, and learn how to actually talk to people, which is something I feel like my teenagers need experience with. So if you have somebody that is eligible for employment and wants to get into that and really kind of rub shoulders with what's happening in Fairfax County from an employment perspective, jump on the county website and check that out from 11 to 2 tomorrow online. Teen Job Fair.
Cool. All right. I have a couple. So one that's really exciting is I'm thinking I might see if I can get Mike to go with me tonight. So Daryl Davis out at the Birchmere tonight at 7:30. Tickets are $29.50. Daryl Davis is doing a concert called Thanks for the Memories, and it's actually a compilation of music from all the artists that we've lost in 2020.
Oh wow.
I
know.
There
was a lot too.
There were so many.
So
many. So that's going to be really good. So because it's going to be really
It'll
good.
Be good.
I know it will be. So at the Birchmere tonight, 7:30. Also coming up is tonight over at Jam and Java is Fredericksburg native John Tyler Wiley and his Virginia Choir. Are going to be playing over there. Tickets are $15, and this is he is about to launch his debut album called The Longing. So support a local guy. Head over to Jam and Java. Also happening on the 22nd. So I'm giving you a weekday event that you can check out.
It's like college.
I know it's a virtual talk happening through One More Page over the bookstore, and the Red Widow book launch is happening, and it's kind of like a spy thriller, and they're going to have like a CIA person who worked in that area kind of on talking about it along with the author to give a nice little rundown. I always love when you kind of hear the inside story, and I love it when it's stuff that you could in Northern Virginia can kind of relate to, because
right.
If you grew up here, first and foremost, you tell me you work at the State Department, I know what you do.
We know what you do.
Right. And there's so many, I think also growing up in Northern Virginia, it's not as cool to be like, government, like work at the CIA, work at whatever, because that's just
what people
normal, right? Like my dad was naval intelligence, my husband's dad was CIA. Like that's like okay, that's just what you do. But so there's a book about that. Obviously, it's a fictional book, but really interesting. Could be a great summer read for you. And then lastly, I have again a weekday thing to check out on March 21st from 4 to 6 is the Old Town Chili Cook-Off for charity. It's $45, but it goes to charity. It's happening over at Augie's Muscle House, and there's going to be 4 competitors to where you can try all their chilies, and it's like Landini Brothers, like legit, chili chefs who are going to be putting stuff together, and then you get to vote, and it goes towards charity. And
so I've got a charity event too. I just want to say huge shout out again, WTOP. Featured the
thanks for doing your job.
Yeah, thanks for doing your job, WTOP. But shout out to local bakery, Great Harvest Bread Company. They have locations in Burke and in Lorton, and they initially wanted to help out with the pandemic by donating 5,000 loaves of bread to local food banks and shelters. In the end, they've now donated more than 20,000 loaves of bread, which is just insane.
And that bread is so good.
So good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It is so good. Now that said, they have asked the public to donate cash, and for every $5 in cash that they get, they make a loaf of bread. And when somebody does $100, they then throw in an extra 5 loaves of bread, which for a total of 25 loaves. In case you couldn't do that higher math, I did it for you. So far, they have received over $75,000. There were 2 organizations that had donated a massive amount of that. But it's mainly coming from just individuals like me and you who can help out. So they're going to continue this outreach through 2021. So if you're in the neighborhood, Burke and Lorton, grab yourself one of the best loaves of bread you'll ever eat and give to a good cause, because they are really making a difference at our food banks and shelters right now. So thank you, Great Harvest, for being local, and we're glad that not only are you doing well in the pandemic, but you're also making a difference for those who are struggling.
Yes.
And with that,
That's
we'll see you next Friday, folks.
Yes. See you next Friday. No. Yes, we will. Next Friday.
Next Friday we'll see you, but then wait for 2 weeks because we got something real special for you guys.
Yes.
Ingrid and Sharon are gonna go live.
So it may or may not happen if they can figure out the
It
technology.
may be the most boring thing ever because it'll just be dark, or it will be one of the best online experiences of your lives.
I know we will, right, because we're both going to be out of town, but I know where I will be at 9 o'clock on Friday morning.
Watching that happen.
Yes, I will. Yes,
All right.
I know we might be having heart palpitations because of it, but, but we'll be there.
We'll be there.
All right.
Have a great weekend.